Unhurry. So what good can come out of suffering? So I want to introduce Marcy to you. And Marcy, I'm afraid of messing up your last name, so I'm not even going to, how do I say it?
Do you want to try?
There you go. I'll let her say it.
Are you sure? You don't want to try? Flygar.
Flygar. Well, that's exactly how it's spelled. I could have just said Flygar right there, F-L-Y-G-A-R-E.
Good job.
All right. So I asked Marcy if she would share her story because it speaks to this question. So I'm going to get out of the way so you can share with us.
Thanks. This is a new mic thing for me. I wish I could sit down with each and every one of you and talk about our stories of suffering, because I know everyone has one. But since we can't do that at this moment, I'll share a short one of mine with you. So I grew up with what I would consider to be a normal life. I had a wonderful family. I do not consciously recall anything traumatic happening to me. Yet looking back, I could tell that my brain and nervous system was in a dysregulated state. When I reached high school and college, I was a very driven and perfectionistic woman. A life that was involved in everything, and I felt the need to be loved by all. With my go-go mindset, adrenaline became my drug of choice. My body craved thrill-seeking activities, and I was addicted to it, and it felt great. During these years and beyond, I slowly started to break down with illness and disorders that would come and go. In order to combat and cope, I would use fitness, nutrition, and natural modalities, to the point where I made my entire lifestyle around these. Then around 4 years ago, I came home from a family vacation. Within my first day, my brain and nervous system went into full-on trauma. Complex PTSD, chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, anxiety, and depression, just to name a few. I experienced bits and pieces of these throughout my life, but I was always able to bounce back. But this time, my past coping mechanisms didn't work. I felt helpless. Everything became unsafe. I didn't know who I was anymore. My driven and perfection identity I once lived for became something impossible for me to partake in. I went from going 100 miles per hour to what felt like the emergency brake being pulled. My life came to a halt. No one around me really understood my dysregulated state, and for good reason. Why would they? Our culture gives praise for being efficient and busy. Only in the past decade has slow progressive trauma really been recognized to cause chronic physical, mental, and emotional illnesses later on in life. It is commonly misunderstood that trauma is only possible for those who have been at war or who have physically and sexually been abused. My relationship suffered greatly, and my world became very, very small. I no longer trusted others, my body, and worst of all, God. My best friends became fear and hopelessness. Then, by the grace of God, a friend came into my life. She told me it was my brain and nervous system stuck in trauma. I learned how I could rewire these parts of my brain and body through a drug-free neuroplasticity-based program. Slowly, over the course of a few years, I started to wire out chronic illness and wire in resilience. Life started to feel safe again day by day. I was getting to create a new life, and the best part was hope started to take root. Then 9 months ago, I woke feeling as though I was to check my phone. When I turned it on, I found many text messages and missed calls from my family. Right then and there, my gut knew something terrible happened. My older sister, Nikki, was killed in an accident. She was on a motorcycle with her husband, and a deer ran into them, and she was killed on the spot. My life was just starting to increase in safety and speed. Yet, again, the brake was hit with more suffering. A few weeks after her death, I learned about Grief Share. a care group, a part of Hosanna's ministry called Journeys, which helps support life's hurts, habits, and hang-ups. I found myself sitting in these very seats, hurting, raw, and yet open to God using my sister's death to heal me even deeper. Tuesday nights became my Nikki night, which that's my sister's name. Grief Share helped me to process my pain, find resilience for life again, and gain amazing community. Not only did I learn how to grieve my sister's death, but I learned how to grieve my unprocessed pain of my slow progressive trauma. Life started to become beautiful again, a joy for mourning experience. So why do I share my story of suffering? I share these things not to focus on my own pain, but to bring the beauty and gift of suffering to light. Walking through pain is not a microwave approach or an Amazon Prime delivery. Slowing down and processing suffering goes against the modern day way of success. It feels really scary and for good reason. However, suffering is simply universal. Mine is no greater than anybody else's. All of us will go through it. Jesus experienced it and came to teach us how to walk through it. He showed us how death actually leads to life and to resurrection. Not only from this life into eternity, but how he lets certain parts of us die so we can become a new creation in him. This is unhurried rhythm of his grace, of his pace.